still on?
Yeah.
And we are now live, Sean. Oh, you're mute, Sean.
It's a new year. Got to retrain me. I'd like to call this meeting of the Township of Clearview Committee of Adjustment to order here on Wednesday, January the 19th. I'd like to wish everyone a happy new year. I'd like to begin our meeting by recognizing the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples of Canada as traditional stewards and caretakers of the land. We acknowledge that Clearview Township is located within the boundaries of Treaty 18, the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Teonatadi, the Wendat, and home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples as part of an intricate nationhood that reaches across Turtle Island. At this time of truth and reconciliation, we welcome the opportunity to work together towards new understandings and new relationship and ask for guidance in all we do. I see that we have a full quorum of our members. The minutes of the meeting held on December the 8th have been circulated for adoption. Are there any errors or omissions? Seeing none, I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes as circulated. Chuck and Dave, all in favor? Minutes are carried. Do any members of the committee have a disclosure of a pecuniary interest with respect to the 4 consent file applications that we are reviewing this evening? Seeing none. Our first application is a consent file 21B16, a creation of a residential lot at 7664 County Road 9 in Creemore. I would ask that the secretary read the notice and any correspondence that has been received. Christine?
Thank you. The subject application concerns lands municipally known as 7664 County Road 9, Creemore. The purpose and effect of the application is to sever one lot from the subject lands. Proposed severed lot, 25 meters of frontage, overall 3,680 square meters vacant land. Retained lot, 66.45 meters of frontage, overall 9,781 square meters with dwelling. Comments were received from Hydro One, the County of Simcoe, and the Public Works Department, having no objection or concern with the application. And we have a recommendation from the Planning Department. Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby approves consent 21B16 pertaining to lands at 7664 County Road 9, Creemore, subject to the following conditions. 1, that the applicant meet all the requirements, financial and otherwise, of the municipality, including payment of the fee of $150 for each certificate of consent to be issued. 2, that the applicant provides a description of the severed and the retained land, which may be registered under the requirements of the Registry Act or Land Titles Act as applicable. 3, that the applicant pay a minimum of $6,698.23 per newly created lot to the municipality, or in an amount equal to the 5% parkland contribution as required by the Planning Act as a requirement of the approval. Please note that the flat rate number is a minimum as it is adjusted annually in accordance with the Statistics Canada quarterly construction price statistics based on a 12-month period ending September 30th. 4, that any mortgage on the property be discharged from any lands being severed and that the solicitor provide an undertaking in writing that this condition will be fulfilled. And 5, that the applicant be required to bring municipal water services to the frontage of the proposed new residential lot, connect to said municipal services, as well as be responsible for all associated costs. And 6, that the applicant meet all the requirements of the Simcoe County Engineering Department as required in their letter dated January 11th, 2022. And that is all I have.
Thank you very much. I see that the applicant, David, is on our meeting here. Do you have anything to add to the file or the application?
No, it was pretty clear. I thank Christine for assistance with this. No, it's all good for me.
All right. Any comments from staff? No. Mr. Burden.
I just want to ensure that you understand the terms that Simcoe County put out in their letter. Do you understand those terms?
I do. With respect to what was just read, I understand that. I understand the that there's a requirement for road allowance on the subject property and the other property as well. So I do understand that.
Very good. I just wanted to ensure that because that's something that always comes up when people find they're on a county road and then there's this, all of a sudden they want to take a whole bunch of road allowance. So as long as you understand, we're in good shape.
If maybe just for clarification, and the way it was explained to me is that that is for the road allowance is for future potential upgrades or changes to that County Road 9. Is that correct?
That is correct. So being deputy mayor, I sit on county council and the previous deputy warden for the county. So yes, we deal with this and planning issues all the time. And yes, so I'm just want to make sure it's important that people realize that should the county decide they want to widen the road, you're going to lose some property as a result. And so while we're in a committee of adjustment, I'd like to make sure that you're aware of those conditions. But you're correct. It's only should the county decide to widen County Road 9.
Yeah, so let's hope that's not for a little while.
Well, typically because it's within the settlement area of Creemore, it typically won't happen, but it's standard policy. And
yeah, no, I guess it's, yeah.
I see this all the time, especially when we're on county roads where there's 500 feet of frontage, and all of a sudden they're taking acres and acres of land to be put aside for county roads adjustment. So, but anyways, you understand, and that was I wanted to make sure that you understood that condition.
Yeah, I appreciate that clarification. Thanks so much.
Rosalind,
Yeah,
you want to weigh in?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that, like, while you won't, they may not widen it physically, you are going to be giving up that land. So that will, like, you will have use of it until such time as they will take it over. But by legal terms, it won't be in your name. Okay.
Yeah, no, I understand that it has to be surveyed, and that portion is donated to you guys.
All right, thank you.
Which maybe I just have another question around that. So if and when that that time comes where they decide to do whatever they want to do on County Road 9, the vast majority of properties will still be retaining that road allowance. So am I correct to assume that the township would have to arrange for the acquisition of all those other road allowances on all the other properties before anything was done?
That's correct. It would be an expropriation plan that would acquire it. So hence the reason anytime anybody wishes to do any type of development, they take the opportunity under the Planning Act to acquire that land now. So they have less that they have to acquire when a major project like that is undertaken. And Barry, did you have something you wanted to add to that?
I think you said it perfectly, Mr. Chair. You described it perfectly, and quite frankly, I don't see it happening in our lifetime. But
well, I'm planning to live 150, so maybe it will. But anyway, yeah, no, I do thank everyone for the clarifications. I mean, I had a lot of questions around that when I first was thinking about this, and that was it was a bit of a surprise, just given the property that I'm currently on. The way it was designed and everything else, it's a bit of a shock to think that, a big chunk of that potentially might be gone. But On the other hand, you know, I mean, it will be gone even if I don't do this and still live here. They'll expropriate it anyhow, right? So, I mean, end of the day, there's nothing much can be done, right? Other than maybe I would have made a few $100 during the expropriation time.
Final words,
If I
Mr.
may,
Byrne.
Mr. Chair,
Yep.
I've experienced many expropriation through the county. So and I, as deputy warden, I signed many expropriation papers. So yeah, it happens. But I mean, the good thing is you don't have to go through that. So this is a good thing that, you know, you're agreeing to it now, and it simplifies everything for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously my adjacent neighbor went through this process with you guys a couple of years back, and you know, so I understand that. But thanks very much.
You're welcome. Any of the other members of committee have any questions, any comments with respect to this? Seeing none, I'd ask then for a motion. Is there a motion to accept the staff recommendation? Moved by Chuck, seconded by Dave. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much, and I wish you well travels coming back from Machu Picchu, David.
Yeah, thanks. By the way, I wish you guys had sent me a little sign that said yes or no on my end, right? That would have been kind of fun to have, but oh well, maybe another time, right?
All right.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
And there is a 20-day appeal period, and then you'll be able to continue working with Rosalind and Christine to move your project forward.
Great. Thanks so much again. Appreciate it. Have
Thank
a good night.
You
Bye.
too. Our second application is consent file 21B17, property again in the village of Creemore, 245 Mill Street. And I'll turn it over to you, Christine.
Thank you. The subject application concerns lands municipally known as 247 and 245 Mill Street, Creemore. The purpose of the application is to sever a portion of land from 245 Mill Street to be added to the abutting property at 247 Mill Street. Proposed severed parcel, 12 meters of frontage on County Road 9, overall 266 square meters of vacant land. Retained lot, 21.5 meters of frontage on Mill Street, overall 1,292.9 square meters with dwelling and accessory building. The effect of the application is to facilitate a lot addition, which will result in 247 Mill Street having a frontage of 21 meters on Mill Street and new lot area of 1,266 square meters with dwelling and accessory building. Comments were received from Hydro One and the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority, having no concerns or objection to the application. And I have a recommendation from the Planning Department. Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby approves consent 21B17 pertaining to lands at 245 and 247 Mill Street, Creemore, subject to the following conditions. One, that the applicant meet all the requirements, financial and otherwise, of the municipality, including payment of the fee of $150 for each certificate of consent to be issued. Two, that the applicant provides a description of the land, which may be registered under the requirements of the Registry Act or Land Titles Act as applicable. Three, that any mortgage on the property be discharged from any lands being severed, and that the solicitor provide an undertaking in writing that this condition will be fulfilled. Four, that the property to be severed is conveyed into the same name as the owner of the abutting land to the west, being assessed as roll number 4329 030 001 29400, 247 Mill Street, Creemore, and that the solicitor provide an undertaking in writing that this condition will be fulfilled, as well as merging the PIN numbers to have only one PIN number for the new parcel. And five, that a 1 foot square from the receiving lot, 247 Mill Street, be conveyed to the municipality free of charge and clear of all encumbrances, and that the transfer confirming ownership of the 1 foot square being the corporation of the Township of Clearview be submitted to the municipality, and that the solicitor provide an undertaking in writing that this condition will be fulfilled if required. And that is all I have.
Thank you very much. Is the applicant or agent on the call this evening?
George Bond.
Yes, how are you, George? Thank you for
Fine, thank
joining
you,
us.
sir.
Do you have anything you'd like to add to the application?
I have nothing to add.
Does staff have any comments? any further comment than their extensive report? Not seeing none. Any members of committee have any questions with respect to this application? Seeing none. So then I'd look for a motion then to approve the recommendation as presented in the report, moved by Dave Rowell, seconded by Chuck Aaron. Any other questions or comments? If not, I'll call the vote. All in favor of granting this consent? That is carried. So it's resolved that the Committee of the Township of Clearview, Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby approves consent 21B17 pertaining to lands at 245 and 247 Mill Street, subject to the previously read conditions. There is a 20-day appeal period, and then you can move forward with your project.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Our next application is consent file 21B18, property located at 9127 1718 Side Road and 2050 Concession 10 South. Christine.
Thank you. The subject application concerns lands municipally known as 9127 1718 Side Road and 2050 Concession 10 South, formerly Nottawasaga. The purpose of the application is to sever a rural lot from the subject lands. Proposed severed parcel, 470 meters of frontage on 1718 Side Road, overall 38 hectares with dwelling and 2 accessory buildings. Retained lot, 350 meters of frontage on Concession 10 South, overall 31 hectares vacant land. The effect of the application is to facilitate the recreation of 2 rural lot fabrics that had inadvertently merged on title. We did receive comments from Hydro One, the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority, and the Niagara Escarpment Commission having no concern or objection to the application. And we have a recommendation from the Planning Department. Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby approves consent 21B18 pertaining to lands at 9127 1718 Side Road and 2050 Concession 10 South Clearview, subject to the following conditions. 1, that the applicant meet all the requirements, financial and otherwise, of the municipality, including payment of the fee of $150 for each certificate of consent to be issued. 2, that the applicant provides a description of the land which may be registered under the requirements of the Registry Act or Land Titles Act as applicable. And 3, that any mortgage on the property be discharged from any lands being severed, and that the solicitor provide an undertaking in writing that this condition will be fulfilled. And that is all I have.
Thank you very much. I see Mr. Pachuzzo's here, agent for the applicant. Do you have any further comments with respect to the report and the solicitor's letter and so on?
Mr. Chair, thanks, Mr. Chair. I don't have any comments to add. I've read through the report and obviously have no concerns. Support the recommendation and ask that the committee endorse the recommendation and approve the consent tonight. That's all. Thank you very much. Obviously here to answer questions though.
Thank you. Staff have anything further to add to the report, Nick?
No, nothing further to add, but again, here to answer questions as well.
Thank you. Members of committee. Start with Barry.
Yes, I just want to address Andrew Pachuzzo. I just want to be ensured that your client is aware of these conditions and he's agreeable to these conditions.
Mr. Chair, yeah, thank you for the question through you to Mr. Burton. Obviously aware of, reviewed the staff report, understanding the conditions. The client is aware of them. Thank you very much for inquiring them.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Anything further from committee? If not, I'd ask for a motion then to approve the recommendation. By Chuck, seconded by Dan. Any further comments or questions before I call the vote? Seeing none, all in favor? That is carried. So it's resolved that the Committee of Adjustment of Township of Clearview hereby approves consent 21B18 pertaining to lots at 9127 1718 Side Road and 2050 Concession 10 South Clearview, subject to the previously read conditions. As you're aware, there's a 20-day appeal period, and then you can move forward with getting back to where you were. Thank you very much. And our final application tonight, consent file 21B19, property located at 1651 124. Christine.
The subject application concerns land municipally known as 1651 County Road 124. The purpose and effect of the application is to sever a parcel of land for conservation and Bruce Trail purposes. Proposed severed parcel, 298 meters of frontage on County Road 124, overall 1.5 hectares, 3.7 acres, vacant land. Retained lot, 290.2 meters of frontage on County Road 124, overall 3.8 hectares, 9.4 acres with dwelling. Comments were received from the Niagara Escarpment Commission, the County of Simcoe, the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority, Hydro One, OMAFRA, and from residents Julianne Martison and Amelia Pock, all having no concern or objection to the application. And we have a recommendation from the Planning Department. Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby approves consent 21B19 pertaining to lands at 1651 County Road 124 and legally described as South Part Lot 19 Concession 10, formerly in Nottawasaga, now in the Township of Clearview, subject to the following conditions. 1, that the applicant meet all the requirements, financial and otherwise, of the municipality, including servicing bylaw charges and payment of the $150 fee for each certificate of consent to be issued. 2, that the applicant provides a description of the land which may be registered under the requirements of the Registry Act or Land Titles Act as applicable. 3, that any mortgage on the property be discharged from any lands being severed, and that the solicitor provide an undertaking in writing that this condition will be fulfilled if required. And 4, that the property to be severed will be given 1 roll number, 1 PIN number, and conveyed into the ownership of the Bruce Trail Conservancy, that the solicitor will provide an undertaking in writing that this condition will be fulfilled. And that is all I have.
Thank you very much. Ms. Diamond, I take it that you are representing the Conservancy tonight?
That's correct, Mr. Chair, and thank you. And thank you, members of the committee. It's good to see everybody again.
Yes, you've been... the Conservancy has been quite active, which is nice.
That's right.
Well, or active in Clearview, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you'd wish to add to the application?
Mr. Chair, I've got nothing to add to the staff report on this proposal. However, I just want to take this opportunity to publicly thank Mr. and Mrs. Collier for their generosity and civic mindedness in allowing the trail to cross their land all of these years. As you know from hearing me talk on behalf of past applications that you've approved, the Bruce Trail is free to the public, but few people realise that we rely quite heavily on private landowners such as Elaine and Steve Collier to keep the trail off the road. The BTC's mission, of course, though, is to secure these stretches, which is the purpose and effect of this particular application. We're just under 80% secured, so we have a little ways to go yet, but they will all eventually link together to form what we call the Ribbon of Wilderness, a natural corridor that stretches all the way from Niagara all the way to the tip of the Bruce Peninsula in Tobermory. And that's all I wanted to add, Mr. Chair. I'm happy to answer any questions that the committee may have.
Thank you. Anything further from staff to add to the report? No. Any questions from members of committee with respect to this proposed consent? Mr. Burton.
I'd just like to thank Ms. Diamond for her efforts. I am a commissioner on the Niagara Escarpment Commission, and I thank you for your efforts to continue. I have walked the Bruce Trail many times in the past. I was a scout leader for many years, so I've walked many sections of it. So I just want to thank you for your efforts and appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything further from committee? I'd ask then for a motion to approve. Barry and Dan, anything further? I'll call for the vote. All in favor? And that is carried. So be it resolved, the Committee of Adjustment, Township of Clearview hereby approves consent 21B19 pertaining to lands at 1651 County Road 24, subject to the previously read conditions.
Thank you.
So again, 20-day appeal period, and then we can move forward. So thank you again, and thank you for your efforts on behalf of the Conservancy and the Bruce Trail.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Good night. New business. Christine, you circulated to us the document where that's reached royal assent with respect to some changes that may affect our committee. And I haven't been able to read through all of it. I haven't had the time, but does any of the other members have any comments, or is it something that maybe we should bring back to our next meeting and have some, if we have any questions of staff or so on?
Yes, I'm also hoping to digest it a little bit more myself, Sean. One of the first ones is the extension for completing conditions for consent files. So we now can allow our applicants up to 2 years to complete conditions, which is very helpful. You know, sometimes there's constraint with weather and different issues that can arise. So that's a very positive one. And there are a few other legal technical things that they provided, you know, what I gave you in the email, and a lot of it is very legally worded. And so I would still have yet to, you know, discuss with my colleagues, as well as maybe I'm hoping through OCA, they'll be offering a little bit more education on it as well, just so that we can have a fulsome understanding of some of the other changes in that new law that is now in effect. And some of the applications that have already been approved prior to January 1st is when it became law, but it's actually effective since royal assent. So some of the applications we've already approved will actually also have that 2-year period now as well for those, which is helpful. So yes, happy to try to answer some questions if you have any now, but would also still like some time to have a full understanding of all the new changes.
Yes, and Dave?
I was just going to say that I noticed that one of the sections that was changed was the Rigney case, where the property had automatically been merged and they were coming back now to recreate the lots. So it was nice to see that was included in very timely included in the bill.
Yes.
All right. Any other new business? Any other comments?
Nothing.
All right. Our next meeting tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, February the 9th.
Yes.
Dave?
Sorry, Sean, just a quick question, actually directed towards Christine. Christine, the Hydro G, I don't have the number in front of me. I think it was the October meeting, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Are they coming back? Have you received anything with regard to that yet?
So we anticipate that they will be coming back to our February meeting. I can allow Rosalind to speak to that as well, since that is her application, but that is my understanding, as they hope to come back to us next month.
Yeah, I just can add, the reason it was a bit more delayed was that when the Director of Public Works reviewed the study that came in, it was suggested that it be bumped to Burnsides for review, that some of the, let's say, the conditions of the D6 or D5 water test weren't exactly followed to the line. And so Mr. Ron felt that maybe that it should actually just be peer reviewed by Burnsides. And so I believe Burnsides and Tisha have actually been working quite closely, and it's possible that maybe the weather, holidays, all that has just delayed them a bit. I was in touch with Christine Loft just this week and said that if they could try to get something, like the big thing now will be just trying to get Tisha's report back and then have Burnside's review and then try to get it ready for February. But I did say that, you know, we would try our best to try to get it on for the February meeting, that I probably only need about, you know, a couple days. The big one will be waiting on Burnside's peer review. So, but it is, nobody's slowing down. They're just, it's been a bit delayed that way, so.
All right, thank you for that update. Anything else, members? No? All right, we'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Chucky? Very good. Thank you very much, gentlemen, and enjoy the snow.